Good afternoon, everyone. I'd like to call this meeting to order. Time is now 4:30. Roll call, Tina, aye. Joanne?
Here.
Nicole?
Here.
Victor?
Here.
And Danielle is absent this evening. Please stand and join us in saying the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, I'd like to make a motion to approve tonight's agenda. Can I get a second?
I'll second.
All in favor of that motion, say aye.
Aye.
Any nays? Motion carries 4-0. Number 5, for approval of consent items, we have the minutes for the January 14th regular school meeting and the minutes for the January 26th special virtual school board meeting. I will make a motion to approve those board minutes as you guys have all read, seeking a second. All in favor of that motion, say aye.
Aye.
Any nays? Motion carries 4-0. For consent items B and C, which was the treasurer's report, accounts payable bills, checks, vendor, budget summary, can I get a motion to approve those reports? Okay, I'll make a motion to approve B and C, treasurer's reports, accounts payable bills as reported, seeking a second.
I'll second.
All in favor of that motion, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any nays? Motion carries 4-0. D, personnel hire, resignation, and leaves. There's none to report. Okay. Number 6, we have the audit presentation by Patty.
Oh, hi, Patty. Welcome. Welcome. We're so happy you're here.
Do you want me to just sit here? Or?
Whatever you'd like to do.
Okay. So I would just like to give a brief summary of the financial statements and the changes in the fund balance for the year, and then go over the management letter comments, and then if anyone has any particular questions, I'll be happy to answer those for you. So for the year ended June 30th, 2025, the general fund had an increase overall of $65,275. The debt service fund decreased $23,339. Capital projects decreased $6,938,951, which was anticipated as the project is wrapping up. Capital improvement trust, there was a $1,000 contribution during the year, so a $1,000 increase. Food service now has a zero fund balance, which is something the district should be aware of, that the district, as of the end of 2025, the general fund has to supplement the food service fund. Community service, there was no increase or decrease. There's been no activity in several years in that fund, so it ended the year with a $2,262 fund balance. And the special revenue trust, which is your Fund 21 student activities, increased $13,527. So if we disregard the capital projects fund, which is almost at an end, overall the district had a modest increase in fund balance of $31,663. In total, revenues for the general fund were $99,000 less than budget. Total expenses were $261,000 less than budget in the general fund. Transfers out were $48,735 greater than was budgeted, and that's largely due to an increased transfer to the special education fund and an increased transfer to the food service fund. Special education fund total revenues were $140,470 less than was budgeted. Expenses were $97,599 less than budgeted in 2025. Transfers in were $42,871 greater than anticipated, and that was due to the decrease in revenue in 2027. Areas over budget in the general fund were co-curricular activities, school building administration, business administration, non-program, and transfers. Areas over budget in the special education fund were pupil services, libraries and instructional services, central services, and non-program. The district issued no new debt in 2025. They paid off $469,000 on their general obligation debt in Fund 38, and they paid off $1,495,000 in their referendum debt fund during the year. As far as management letter comments, the district received significant deficiencies in 2 areas, which are extremely common for smaller school districts. One is for preparation of financial statements, schedule of expenditures of federal awards, and schedule of expenditures of state awards. For all of the districts that we audit, all of our districts have that same deficiency. None of them prepare their entire financial statements, including their footnote disclosures in the whole. Segregation of duties, because you are a smaller school district, you do not have the staff capacity to appropriately segregate financial duties. So 1 or 2 individuals usually share the majority of the responsibilities for your finances coming in and finances going out. Other matters. So looking at internal controls, excuse me, cyber activity is extremely popular right now. So if the district needs to do everything possible to ensure that their systems and their assets are secured from cyber theft, whether that be dual authentication, getting into your systems, more than one approval, if you have transactions going out of the district through the bank. Banks are getting more and more programs to assist school districts and municipalities with having multi-approval before a transfer out of funds is made. The district does not have a formal fund balance policy that complies with GASB 54. That standard has been around for about 12 years now. GASB defines the net assets that a district is allowed to have, those being non-spendable, restricted, committed, assigned, and unassigned fund balances. They also recommend having a strong minimum fund balance policy for the general fund. In case there's some kind of an emergency and the district needs funds, they generally recommend between a 12 and 15% of next year expenditure fund balance in unassigned at the end of a year. Actuarial studies for OPEB or stipend. The district is required to have a full actuarial study every 2 years and then a table update on the other year. So that's something you may want to think about. I know the district currently only has 1 individual that is still on their OPEB plan. That should be going away as soon as that individual has satisfied all the requirements of the OPEB plan. And looking at the bank reconciliations, there were long outstanding checks, some dating back to the 22-23 school year. We recommend that the district look into those outstanding checks and do everything in their power to track down the individuals who have not cashed the checks or turn them over to the state for their collection program. The district does not have a policy on their vending machines. We recommend that the district utilizes staff for collecting monies from the vending machines or stocking the vending machine that are from the finance office and have more than 1 individual counting those funds when they go in and out. The district does not have a policy on inventory controls. So we don't have,
Okay.
do you have one now?
Yeah, no, I have it. I'm like, is this written down somewhere? Because this is a lot of
It's in the
policies.
letter.
It's
It's
in the management letter that we
letter to the
submitted.
board. sorry to interrupt.
That's quite all right. So even though Lucida has been tracking the capital assets for the district, every year there needs to be a count by the district to make sure that those capital assets are still in place and have not been disposed of. Your current capital asset policy is 5,000, so any item that is usable over more than 1 year, we capitalize, and those are tracked in the system, but we don't come in and do a physical inventory count. So that is the district's responsibility every year to go ahead and look at those lists that we provide and make sure that those assets are still in use by the district. And if they've been disposed of, there should be a policy on how those assets are disposed of. And for items under $5,000, there should be a policy that the district has who is tracking the items that are under $5,000. So where are those items in the district? When and how are they being disposed of? During our audit procedures, we noted that the district listing for individuals with accrued sick and vacation time included individuals who are no longer working for the district. So we recommend that the district update their schedules to make sure that all of the individuals who are on that listing are current employees. We recommend that the district increase their capitalization policy from 5,000 to 10,000 to coincide with the increase on the federal level. That was just increased last year in conjunction with their increase up to $1 million requiring a federal single audit. During the year, we noted that there was a former board member who was still signing checks electronically. So we recommend that someone take a look at those checks frequently to make sure that the authorized signers are correct on the checks that are going out the door. During our testing of credit card receipts, there were some receipts missing. In order for the district to watch for fraud, we recommend that receipts are gained for every transaction that takes place, and those receipts are matched up to the credit cards. And if there are any missing receipts, see if you can get those from the individual that was actually making the purchases. In one instance, we found that there was no supporting documentation for a deposit. So there was a deposit that went into the bank that was difficult to track down what that deposit was. So we recommend that there is a system in place whereby all the deposits that are recorded in the books of the district has backup documentation showing exactly what that deposit was for. If anyone has any specific questions on either the audit report or the management letter, I can be happy to answer those for you.
Some of these policies I think that we did work on, but I'm wondering if they just didn't get updated.
That's what I was looking at, and I have to double check with my stuff versus
Do you know when, because this all started like in June, right, the audit?
We start preliminary procedures in June.
Okay.
If the policy wasn't in place at June 30th, it's a management letter.
Oh, got
comment.
it. Okay.
Because it
That's
didn't
our
go
problem.
into effect until after the audit year.
Okay.
So if you have a policy now,
That's why.
Yeah.
but you didn't have it at the end
That
of
makes
the year,
sense. Thank you so much.
no problem.
Are you thinking of the vending one?
Yes.
Okay, that's what I was thinking.
And also we did redefine our fund balance policy.
Yeah, but it doesn't look up to date in the
Well,
system.
and it needs to comply with this GASB state standard. Okay, thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Patty. Also, just a quick comment on that. So like the authorized check signers, right? That's something that
Yes.
post the report got, corrected and
Was
amended with the banks. But it would be included in the audit because of the timeline when
That
the
makes-
audit was prepared.
That makes sense.
So it'll
Yes.
come up on the next year's.
And we do check the status of these comments every year when we come in. We do walkthroughs and we do the internal control document with the district. And we'll check the status. If any of these have been corrected, they're definitely removed. If you've implemented procedures for particular areas, we do ask for new policies and procedures every year when we come in to do the audit.
Perfect.
I have a quick question. On the segregation of duties, other than hiring another individual, is there any other way that we could solve that? Because I feel like that has been a continuous, like you said, it happens to
It is.
small
Other
districts.
schools, other schools do, right?
The
Yeah.
largest school district that our team currently audits is Whitewater. And they are the only district that does not have this segregation of duties, but
Okay.
they have 5 accounting individuals in their office. So you really need 4 for appropriate segregation of duties. Excuse me. Because you don't want any 2 functions performed by the same individual.
Sure.
So the same individual can't enter items into accounts payable and then mail out the checks. They can't put anything into receivables or payables and then reconcile the bank statements. Things have to be segregated so that one individual can't perform fraudulent activities. And it's really difficult when you have a smaller district and you just can't justify the expense of hiring another employee or 2 just to segregate your duties. I've seen some small municipalities actually get through it by having board members that are very financially savvy come in and reconcile their checkbook and come in and perform accounts payable on a volunteer basis. I have seen it done, not very often. So it is possible.
Mhm.
I wonder, would it be possible to even like hire out a separate bookkeeping service just to do like the reconciliation or piece of it, or does that not actually work either?
It could work, but if you had, it's a cost-benefit analysis.
Right.
If you have concerns about the accounting and about the accuracy, then that's something you might want to consider. If you really don't have any concerns, and if the board is looking at the banks monthly to see what's there, and they're approving the disbursements going out, and they have a good handle on what's coming in as far as revenues, then you should have a pretty good idea of what is in your bank.
And that's,
Um,
I think we talked about this last year too, that at least somebody on the board should be seeing, reviewing all the bank statements,
Yes,
actual bank statements.
and the bank reconciliations to make sure that there aren't a lot of items that are outstanding.
Yeah,
One thing that frequently throws up a red flag, not that it's fraudulent, but it could be an indication that bank reconciliations, that you're struggling with them, is if you see a lot of journal entries in your bank reconciliations, particularly journal entries that aren't clearing from one month to another. You could have a journal entry because you know that something's coming in or has come in that hasn't been posted through the system yet, but then that should clear by the next month. You don't want to see those 2 months in a row. You don't want to see a transfer from one bank account to another that goes over 2 months because the transfer either happened or it didn't. So we should never see journal entries of that nature sitting there in bank reconciliations. So the only thing we generally want to see in there is a deposit in transit. And if we do see a deposit in transit and a bank reconciliation, we will look at the next month's bank statement to make sure that that actually was deposited after year end. If we see a lot of outstanding checks that are dating back, material outstanding checks, which the district did not have material outstanding checks. But if we see material outstanding checks that have been sitting there for 6 months or more, it's a concern. If someone wrote me a check for $10,000, I would be pretty sure to cash it. So if someone hasn't, then I would think that they would be calling saying, hey, you know, you owe me this money, where is it? So that's also a red flag, is if you see material outstanding checks that have been sitting for quite some time. Someone should be looking into those to find out what the status is and whether or not they should be cleared from the system.
Okay.
You also mentioned adjusting entries.
Yes.
Were these primarily classification or timing corrections that needed to be made in those adjustments?
The way the Department of Public Instruction works is they are extremely particular about where things go.
Yeah.
So we had a lot of entries that were just moving, reclassifying from one area to another, which the way DPI system is done now, we can no longer make those reclass entries. Now we have to make adjusting entries. Most of our adjusting journal entries are related to balance sheet accounts. And that is a recurring problem with most organizations. Everyone understands the income statement. They understand the revenues, they understand the expenses, but when it comes to your liabilities, a lot of times those aren't reconciled timely. So we have to reconcile those at year end with the audit.
Are those process improvements that can be implemented in order?
Yes, they are. The most challenging is the payroll liabilities, because at June 30th, the teachers have earned their pay and benefits through the summer months. So we will have a lot of liabilities sitting there for the summer, and we have to match those up. But if those aren't reconciled, I don't say that they have to be reconciled every month, but at least quarterly, someone should be taking a look at those balance sheet accounts to see that what is sitting in those liabilities is actually something that was paid or will be paid the next month.
As far as debt and capital projects, was there any risk in our debt structure or repayment schedule that you saw in the audit?
Not that we saw, no.
And you don't actually look for any sort of fraud, it's that we're.
Part of an audit is we are required by federal law to do a risk assessment on fraud. And anywhere we think that there's a risk of fraud, we have to do some testing. So we have a section in our audit procedures, it's called SAS 99, because that's the section that requires that. One of the risks of fraud is employee reimbursements. So we will take a sample of employee reimbursements. We will see that they were approved and that they were for legitimate purposes of the school. Another area is credit card, fraudulent credit card activity, or mistaken credit card activity. Now, we have seen situations where an individual mistakenly, legitimately used the district's credit card for a personal purchase. If we see later on that it was like, oh, we caught this, they paid it back, we don't consider that fraudulent activity.
Sure.
Things happen. If we bring it up and then they say, oh, I forgot, then it's a little bit more of a concern. Then someone needs to look at it. We didn't see any instances of that. We take a random sample, so it doesn't matter if the invoice is $1 or $500,000, it's random. And we make sure that they were approved. We make sure that they cleared the bank, that the check and the invoice matched. We will take a sample of teachers and look at their contract pay and make sure that the contract pay matches what is in the contract. So those are areas that we look at related to fraud. There are others too.
Yeah.
It's nice to know that's happening.
Be looking
For
at
sure.
that. For the food service fund, I know that you said that we're kind of zero and we're having to transfer money from the operation, but did they take into account, or if it was from last year, they wouldn't have taken into account the raise in lunch prices that we did this year, correct?
Correct. So
Okay,
nothing
just
after
making sure.
June 30th
Yeah.
is reflected in this
Okay.
information.
All right, just want to make sure my mind was right on that.
All right, do you, any other questions? Thank you so much for
Yeah, thank
bringing
you.
this out to our attention.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
Thank you for coming in, Patty.
You're welcome.
All right, number 7, district administrator reports. Michelle, that is you.
Okay, well, we have a couple of gentlemen here with us tonight that I'd like to introduce you to. We've got Ben Stanislawski. Ben, where are you? Could you come on up, Ben? So Ben and Joel, we just had the greatest day on Monday with our staff professional development day. And we are going to be showing a video that they were an integral part of filming, editing, creating. and it was awesome. And it's a celebration of our students' math growth. All of our grade levels showed high math growth in both reading and math. So just a little something to thank you guys and recognize you because it's impressive. So thank you so much. Whoops, sorry, wrong guy. So how about a little round of applause for them? Really great work.
Directors in the near
I
future.
know, I know. You can come down, I need help all the time. So. And I'd also like to give a shout out to Mr. Green for all of his hard work. And the boys are part of your club, right?
Yeah, those are two of our team members that handle a lot of live streams
Uh-huh.
and a lot of digital media, and they're really sound editors, broadcast engineers, and they do some really amazing things. If you guys got a chance to tune into the Bristol Shootout, they were programming the brackets in live time, in real time, as well as the scoring, overlay, and all of that. So those are the two gentlemen that work with the teams that make all of that a reality for our viewers at home, for our basketball games, and they have just far surpassed what we can teach in a cinematography class. So really proud of both those boys. So.
Yeah,
Thank
awesome.
you.
Well done.
Awesome. So, Mr. Green, you showed the video?
Oh, yes, actually, last time we tried to have my device do both of them, both things. It crashed out. It was ate up too much processing power. I can show it on. Let's see.
You,
Can you present it from
Give me 1 second. Maybe I can do it from
Okay.
here. I will certainly try. And I'll bring it up. You know what? Actually, Dr. Schmidt, I cannot because I have the stream going here and I can't have
Okay.
the YouTube link and that going
Okay.
simultaneously.
Okay,
Unfortunately, I'm
so if
sorry.
you can help me, I will get it up.
Yeah, I'm sorry. So if we go to YouTube, I can get us signed in there. My apologies, I thought this in a slideshow. Okay, Ben, you left that unlisted, right?
Yeah.
Thank you, bud. Uh, 6033?
Yep.
6033? Sorry. Get Candy done. Oh, thanks, not right now. Skip that. It's trying to be helpful and it's just really not. Thank you, AI. Appreciate it. Appreciate it. Let's see if I can find it here. No. We'll bring it up. Videos. I believe this is the one.
Thanks, Tony. Oh, that's okay. That's okay.
Hey Bristol family, I am looking at the winter math data, and right now I can't stop smiling. Moving to set our targets, we completely blew past them. So we have high growth and high achievement across every single grade level, and both in reading and math, which is just amazing. And I think, you know, what I'm most proud of is not just the numbers on the sheet, right? That's the outcome, but I want you to know that I see all of the hard work that you put in, the countless hours, the time that you take in your PLC meetings, really looking at where students are and how to improve and reflecting on your practice. It's happening all the time, and it's just truly amazing to see. You don't just teach math and reading. You look at each student and really figure out how to help move them forward. And your hard work is truly paying off. And you know, this accomplishment really mirrors a culture here at Bristol that I am just so thrilled to be a part of, right? Is that our belief that regardless of where a child comes in, we are going to help them grow, whether they're highly successful or they're struggling, or maybe they're somewhere in the middle. We've really strived to make that a focus, and our results are showing that. So thank you so much for all of your hard work. I am so proud of all of that, all of the students and all of you for making this become a reality for us.
Good morning. Hats off to you this morning for surviving one of the biggest, wildest weeks of the year last week. We had Super Bowl Monday, 100th day of school, Valentine's Day, and parent-teacher conferences all in 1 week. So congratulations. But let's be real, why we are really here today. We're really here to acknowledge you as Bristol educators. I think people often ask, like, what is the secret behind Bristol and behind our Bristol success? And they do. Even years before I got here, they want to know what do we do at Bristol that's different? You know, other feeder schools are asking, what do we do at Bristol that's different? And I think it's just not in the test scores. It's not just in what we do outside, like in our sports and how we can get trophies and championships. It's beyond that. It's the extra hours that you all spend putting in time in your tireless planning that you do. Bristol shines because of you, and it's a true reflection of you as educators and all of your efforts that you put in. So thank you. I'm very, very humbled to walk in here every day. I walk in every day thinking all about the amazing educators that are in this building and students. So I'm very, very humbled to be here and very, very proud to be part of the Bristol team. So keep on keeping on. I think we can look at our data and look at what we've been doing. You've been doing a lot of hard work with these students, and we are moving mountains. So keep up the great work. I know we have a lot ahead of us. We have Forward coming up. February and March can be long months, but keep on keeping on. You make this look easy. Keep up the hard work, and thank you.
Hello, Bristol teachers and staff. This is Victor Nightingale, a member of the Bristol School Board. I wanted to personally thank you and congratulations. The winter NWEA math results showing high achievement and high growth in both math and reading from fall 2025 to winter 2026 are an outstanding accomplishment. What stands out to me is that the results like this do not happen by chance. They reflect the preparation, instruction, and consistent support you provide to students every day, along with the relationships you build that help students stay engaged and confident. I appreciate the work you do and the care you bring to our school's community. Please keep the momentum going as we head towards the Forward exam. Keep leading, keep pushing, and keep believing in our kids. Congratulations again, and go Renegades!
Hi, I'd like to thank all of my 8th grade teachers for this wonderful year. Everything's been so fun and interactive, and I just love learning in those classes, and I feel like that's really helped me get better scores and everything.
After I realized how much I improved in math, I was very excited because I had more opportunities, and it was very good for my math class.
I wanted to thank all my 8th grade teachers for helping me persevere through the year so far and helping me achieve high math scores. And it's just been a great experience at this new school.
If I could, I would give Miss McDonald a gold medal for inspiring me to read my independent books and just making me want to read and do school better.
I just want to say thank you to all my teachers, Miss McDonald, Miss Rinsby, and Miss Humble for inspiring me to do my work and not slack off and they just help me overall just help me do things I want to do.
I'd like to thank Ms. B for helping me get a really high ELA score because she was very interactive and she helped me with ELA.
I am glad here to be thanked for my high math score, and I would like to especially thank my 7th grade math teacher, Miss Clausing, for teaching me a lot of new things, such as last year when I was in 6th grade. She brought me in to do 7th grade work, and it was a lot of fun. I learned a lot from that class, and that's why I think I scored exceptionally high. I'd also like to thank all of my teachers for helping me get high reading scores and math scores especially. Thank you.
My teacher makes things fun. My teacher makes things fun. Science, reading, math, and vocabulary, verbs, learning. She just makes stuff fun.
Thank you, Miss Mel, for everything you have taught me new this year, such as fractions, division, and other things. Thank you, Miss Sears, for making math super fun, and that's how I got a good score on my math test. Thank you, Miss Shyla. Thanks, Miss Mendez, for helping me improve my math score on math. Thank you, Miss Mendez, for helping me learn all about math. I'd like to say thank you for teaching me so much. Thank you, Miss Pfeiffer, for all that you did for me. All those little notes that you put it around the room made me feel proud and confident in me. Thank you for having all those fun and exciting activities for me. Thank you, Mrs. Retzoff, for teaching me the traditional strategy in math. If I could give you a gold medal, I would give you one for helping. Thank you, Ms. Shields, for helping me in math and improving, and thank you for helping me do the traditional way of math. And if I was to give you a gold medal, I would give you one for helping kids and helping other students that really need help.
Thank you, 5th grade teachers, for making school so much fun. You really help my learning. You make me enjoy school every day, coming here to Bristol. Thank you, Miss Sturge. I would give you a gold medal for teaching me ELA in the funnest way possible.
Miss Fox, I would give you a gold medal for making my learning experience fun and exciting.
Thank you all 5th grade teachers for helping me pass through this year so far. If I could give you a gold medal, I would.
Thank you to all my 5th grade teachers for helping me learn new things. Thank you, Mr. Gardino, with helping me with my math and breaking it down. It's so much easier now and I completely understand it. Thank you, Miss Setsa, for being the best teacher ever. Thank you, Miss Lisa, for making reading fun. Thank you, Miss Trapetta, for being the best teacher. Thank you, Miss Cochelle, for helping me with math. Thank you. Thank you, Miss Conrad, for making measurements so easier. Thank you, Miss Winnet, for making my learning easier. Thank you, Miss Ritter, for making reading easier. Thank you, Miss Pines, for helping me with equations, even though it was hard. Thank you.
Hi everyone, we happen to be together for our own PD day, and so we wanted to express to you that we heard the excellent news for our recent MAP scores. We know that it takes a really big team to make that happen, so whether you're directly or indirectly working with our students, we just want to say a really big thank you. So again, from all of us, a big and hearty congratulations. Thank you. Thank you.
Hey Bristol, this is Stephanie Rambalski, the PTO president, and on behalf of the PTO, we wanted to send a huge congratulations out to you all on the high achievement and the high growth winter MAPS testing score for math and reading. What a huge accomplishment, and it really shows your value and dedication that you bring here to Bristol every single day and to helping the students learn and grow. We really appreciate each and every one of you. Congratulations again.
Bristol staff, you're not off the hook yet. We've got one final message from district office. First of all, thank you all for all of your hard work and your dedication. And as a result of that, we're here celebrating you today, celebrating the growth of your students, the growth of their learning, closing gaps. I know it is not easy. We know day in and day out, it is sometimes you want to, quite frankly, pull your hair out. But remember, you're doing good things for kids, and you truly do make a difference. Congratulations, Bristol staff and students.
So again, great job, boys.
Good job.
That's a lot of work. That was great, really good. We got a lot of great feedback from our teachers on your work. And again, to our staff and to our students, great work. We're really excited. And your video really inspired our staff as they were heading into their professional learning day and digging into looking at that data even further. So great job.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We're listening to it so good, we're going to say it twice.
All right. Oh, Tony, I think am I logged in as you right now? See, boys, this is where.
We are going to re-release that with the end credits. They forgot to credit themselves for their works at the end, so we have to layer those overlays in.
Okay, great.
Thank you guys.
So again, congratulations to everyone who was a part of all of the hard work around our student growth, academic growth. I do want to also put a shout out to our elective staff and our Encore staff. They do a lot of great work too. I've been able to do some observations with a couple of our BIED teachers, and really blown away by just their instructional strategies and the culture they build in their classes. So it's sometimes we need to make sure we're giving accolades to people who maybe don't teach reading and math, but there's a lot of good things happening at Bristol. So again, these are just some pictures from our professional learning day. We have a culture committee who, again, is taking input from staff. We gave staff a professional development survey about a week and a half before our professional learning day to get their input on what they need, and our instructional learning team was very responsive to that. They moved some things around, and staff started their day off by working in teams and actually digging into this data a little deeper. It's one thing to see that your scores are going up. A big start of the morning was really highlighting and recognizing staff members for some of the instructional strategies that they're using that are best practice, that are helping to get students closing gaps and moving students into higher achievement levels. So it was a great day, and hopefully everybody felt it was worth their time spent. Just a congratulations to our cheer squad at the Wheatland Showcase. They were, I think, the loudest and the best spirit, but again, I've seen the girls when I've popped into basketball games, and I'm impressed that they're middle schoolers, and I'm impressed by their spirit. Some of them can do some pretty cool gymnastics stuff, so a lot of talent. And then congratulations to our 8th grade conference basketball champs. Again, very impressive. Thank you to Mr. Adams. Thank you to Miss Carla for cheerleading coaching. So again, lots to be proud of in Bristol. And then we have a couple of 2nd graders who won the ATODA poster contest for their grade levels. This is a Kenosha County contest, again, looking at drug awareness and safety. And these 2 girls have been invited and their parents to a luncheon in Kenosha later in the month. So excited for them. These are some of our spelling bee winners. Again, I've got them listed there. We had 3 students who moved on to the regional level, so great things happening in Bristol. Our geography bee, we had 4 teams participate. Mrs. Ruha said she was really happy with the participation, and 2 of our teams tied for best teamwork. So way to go. That the geography bee was held at Central High School. And then our strategic plan. So we've talked before, our strategic plan is sunsetting. We talked at our administrative meeting, just updating the board on what are some of the things that are happening. And some of it you already saw in the presentation, but going back to student achievement, our high growth from fall to winter. Dr. Moan is here. When she was here last time, we've actually started the after-school tutoring homework program. So again, another support for our students. Enhanced learning opportunities. We've had students participate in Math 24 and Anthology through our Gifted and Talented Network. As far as a valued and dedicated workforce, again, shout out to our PTO. They had a great dinner for our staff at parent-teacher conferences. They've been doing First Friday treats. We are returning to highlighting staff in our WOW, a staff spotlight. Again, I mentioned we gave our staff a survey regarding professional development needs because we want to make sure that we're getting their input and that they're finding their learning valuable. We've been having culture and climate team meetings that have been really helpful, I think, in making sure that staff have feedback on different aspects of what's going on in the district. And right now our staff are participating in the Culture AMP survey. So that's that survey they've taken the last 2 years in a row. They're in the process of that, and I'm hoping I can have results for both them and you next month. As far as community engagement, our school board put together a special ed funding letter urging the community about the importance of calling lawmakers to restore the promised amounts of funding that we're not getting, although I know there's work behind the scenes on that in the legislature. And our PTO is planning a school board candidate forum between March and April. We have one of our strategic plan facilitators. I've got 3 that I'm hoping to interview. One is coming in next week, and I'm in the process of communicating with the other 2, but they're both interested. So would be looking for possibly community members, a board member, staff members to interview those people. And then in terms of systems for facilitating efficient operations, the board did approve that purchase of student Chromebooks. And although it's part of our replacement cycle, those Chromebooks were really needed to make sure we have a smooth execution of our forward testing because the forward testing requirements and the previous Chromebooks we had don't match. And again, we just want things to go smooth. We don't want any problems when our students and teachers are in that process. And then updates. Some of us, Jorge and Lori and I, have met with USI, our health insurance carrier, and we're talking about post-renewal strategic planning. Obviously, we're looking at a benefits team, but right now we're meeting monthly with them, looking at wellness options to keep costs down. And again, just planning forward. Open enrollment update. So far, we've got 34 applicants to open enroll in for 26-27. You can see the breakdown there. We've got 11 students that are applying for 4K, 4 students for 5K, and then you can read the rest. 1 for first grade, 2 for second grade, 4 for third, 1 for fourth, 5 for fifth, 4 for sixth, and 1 for seventh. And then in terms of open enrollment applications out, we have 9, and again, 2 at 4K, 2 at 5K, 2 at first grade, 1 at second grade, 1 at third, and 1 at fifth. And last month when we met, we had talked about the fact that we have some new housing going in, so I just wanted to give a Leo Apartments update. Total students enrolled from the Leo Apartments since the first of the year. We have a total of 5 students. 1 in kindergarten, 2 in second grade, 1 in fourth, and 1 in fifth. So again, just kind of keeping our eye on those enrollment trends. And then our bus contract with Dousman expires June 1st. So we have received a copy of their proposal and we're reviewing it, and I will be bringing that to you to review, but we are hoping to meet with him again before I actually bring that to the full board. And we are looking at what options we have in terms of number of years in that contract. And obviously, we all know costs are going up, so looking at how we are maximizing routes and minimizing costs. And that's it. That's what I have today.
Great, thank you. You guys have any questions?
Just curious, Michelle, when we have open enrollments that leave, do we interview them before they leave to find out?
That's a great question. So I don't know what the process has been in the past, but I would like to do that this year. I know maybe a lofty goal when I started, I was like, I'm going to talk to those families that left and find out why they left, and I haven't been able to do that yet, but I think that that is best practice, right? And again, we can always
Might
learn.
find some good stuff in there.
Exactly. Great question.
The school bus contract, how long is that?
Well, he's proposing a 5-year contract, so we are looking at, can we get less than that? I don't know. So again, we have to have some other meetings with the bus company.
Okay. Because like the Leo is a whole different route.
Right.
I mean, addition to a route. So
Mhm.
I'm assuming they're already looking at that.
Yes, and when we met, we talked about reviewing enrollment trends and the housing construction that's coming in. So yes. And this year we had a route that we had to reconfigure because we had too many students on one bus.
That's
so
right.
So kind of redistributing routes, looking at,
All of the
numbers.
buses are at max capacity.
Yep. Yep.
Okay.
So good questions,
Bigger buses.
right?
Victor, you want to drive a bus?
No.
Any other questions? Good material, thank you.
Yep.
Moving on to number 8, Jorge, Business Manager Financial Update.
Okay, we have
Jorge,
a
I'll get
financial
off of Vivi.
update, and I have some slides to share with you. And I think Tony's working on pulling that up. We can some magic to get that up on the screen. We can look at the table and figures here. Okay. So, and the purpose, to start out with this is to give kind of a gauge of where we're at and where the budget is performing in comparison to last year. So when we look at budgets, we're looking at the snapshot of 25-26. So if we look at a comparison to last year's performance, we're using a benchmark date of January 31st, right? So it's comparing 25-26, the current year that we're in, as of 1/31, and 1/31 as of 24-25. So when we're looking at that, one of the first things we look at in budgeting is revenue sources, right? So what do those revenues look for in comparison? So last year, on January 31st, revenue sources from local sources, so that's our tax dollars, we were at $1,836,510. The difference this year, if we're looking at 25-26, is $2,120,232. So the net difference year to year is $283,722. If we're looking at state sources, right, our state went down a bit. So last year at this time was $1,202,963. This year is at $1,023,210. So the net difference there is of $179,000. So that gives you an idea of the distribution, just year-to-year comparison. And keep in mind that equalization aid and local dollars, right, they offset and they do have an interplay there. When we're looking at just positioning year-to-year, last year if we took into account local, state, and federal sources, as of January 31st, we had received that lower figure there, which is $3,062,083, and then this year we're at $3,143,442. So the net difference in there is of $81,359. Keep in mind also that year to year, the cost to educate students rises, right? So revenues rise as well, but so do the cost for education. We can move to the next slide, then. Keeping on with the trend of, as of 1/31 last year where we were at in budget comparison, here we're looking at budget performance in terms of salaries, right? So what was our salaries budget if we're looking at Fund 10, right? So our general education, Fund 27 salaries, so our special education, and we're looking at Fund 50 for our food service. So you can look at the columns on the left-hand side where we were at last year in comparison to this year as of January 31st. Net differences there, our general fund salaries went down slightly by 25,000. Fund 27 increased slightly by 29,000, and Fund 50 also had a modest increase by 2,290. If we're looking at year-to-year comparison, also looking at employee benefits, right? So you see that subcategory underneath, and you can see the net differences in change there. In comparison to last year, right? Overall, once we do all those tallies of employee salaries and employee benefits, we're spending less this year as of $11,069.
If I remember correctly, that's because we didn't fill a position or you reorganized a position.
That's right. And even though there's been, right, WRS has increased, health insurance has increased, there's a lot, happening within all these funds, but that's the net outcome year-to-year comparison. Now let's take a look at purchase services, right? So these are our 300 groupings that we have on our monthly budget reports. And we're looking at Fund 10, Fund 27, and Fund 50. Fund 10, we're underspending in comparison to last year by 45,000. Fund 27 expenditures are a bit up from last year in 63,000, and Fund 50 for purchase services are down by 2,520. So the net difference in terms of purchase services spending comparison to last year, we're spending a bit more, 17,534. Keeping in mind that costs have risen, right, and due to inflation, and that's where expenditures are at in the 300 groupings, which is purchase services. We can look at the next slide, which is budget performance by function. So here under general education, we're looking at undifferentiated curriculum, right? So the net difference there, you can see we're spending less than last year. And same is the case for regular curriculum, instructional services. And then operations as a whole is up in terms of expenditures. Central services spending is down in comparison to last year where we're at the January 31st benchmark. And so you're able to see that last year as of January 31st, we had spent in these account function codes, we had spent $3,085,456. And this year we've spent up to that point $2,986,246. So the net difference is that we're spending less in comparison to last year by $99,211.
Are these timing issues or just being better?
There's so many factors within there, right? But we are working with our teams, with our departments, and looking at budgeting, so a lot of management has gone into that as well. And then the other mention on there is, like, for example, that curriculum, right? Some of the curriculums are on a different schedule. Maybe one year we have a higher purchase item that we won't have to purchase for another 3 to 5 years, and then we may see that purchase come about down the road. We are in the budget development process, so part of that, just to give you an idea, is with January, February, we're really focusing on revenue projections for the upcoming school year. So when we're looking at 26-27, that's where the budget starts. Then we're looking at personnel expenditures, so our staffing. What does our staffing look like for next year? We're also looking at those factors that are non-staffing, so non-personal expenditures, and indices there, and then with the goal of having a preliminary budget by June. Some of those budget development steps, within that are membership projections. So those are key, which affects our revenue limit and our total revenues for next year. Right. So once we have a good sense of our revenue projections, we're also looking at developing the budget for next year is our expenditure projections. Right. So what are those salary and benefits increases? How will that impact the budget? personnel adjustments, so again, staffing, and then non-personal costs we have to look at as well. I'll look for the business office in terms of January and February. We did our EMMA reporting, which is where we report our municipal securities bonds. So that was completed in January. We also submitted our DPI title grants, so our title grant claims. They are partial claims at this point. We'll submit our full claims later this year. Food service claims are also ongoing. In January, we completed our payroll tax, so our W-2s, 1099s. We also worked on the WRS retirement system, Wisconsin Retirement System annual reporting and reconciliation for end of year. We're continually working on vendor contracts, so updating vendor contracts, reviewing vendor contracts, budget adjustments as well, and then the overall budget development. So budgeting goals, assumptions, and working collaboratively as we develop the budget for next year. That's all I have.
Yeah, don't we normally do salary review in April or May? Any way to get a preliminary guesstimate before that?
For salary?
Well, for the budget, I think that's what hung us up last year is not your fault at all, because you weren't here prior to that.
So we are
We're
working,
looking at that, yeah.
actually, we're meeting tomorrow.
Okay.
Jorge and I, yeah. I mean, we're not gonna have that done, but I mean, they do have the CPI rates out, right, Jorge, for us to look at.
We can look at the CPI, and then we're looking at personnel, needs for the
Mhm.
district for the upcoming school year. What are
Yeah.
those needs? What are those
Mhm.
wants? Seeing where they fall, and then taking into account increases, right, as well.
Yeah, I just want to make sure that everybody that works here gets honored. I mean, we don't kick the can down the road again.
Sure.
Waiting, so.
Yep, so Joanne, one of the things that Jorge and I just talked about today, and I might have mentioned this, is in most districts, they shut off their major purchases around May 1st or May 15th, and we will be doing that.
Good.
So as a result, right, we have enough time to make sure that items get paid so that we have a much clearer picture of our preliminary budget in June. So that would be nice.
Okay.
Any other questions on the finance update? That was nice, Jorge, to get a lot of that information out. All right, moving
Like the
on
plan.
to, Victor, did you?
I just said I like the plan.
Okay, perfect. Number 9, E-rate presentation. Tony, that is you.
Would you mind giving me a hand? Yep, sure. Thank you. I just want to step through this. Thanks, guys. Yeah, thank you so much. May I sit up here?
Sure. As long as you're speaking to your microphone.
Yeah, I'll project right into it. I'm always yelling at other people. All right, so I thought it would be advantageous, given that we're in that time of year where this coordinates well with our budget planning, the way this is all timed out. It would be advantageous to give you guys an overview of the FCC E-rate program. So, Jorge, if you go to the next slide. The FCC E-rate program is run through the Federal Communications Commission. It is administered by a private company called Universal Services Administration Company. The program is designed to offset or defray the cost of infrastructure and services for public schools and libraries. So public institutions can offset their costs, and because infrastructure is just really expensive. So it breaks down into 2 categories. And so category 1 is one that I just automatically file every year, and that is our services, such as our internet. And so that just automatically gets filed every year based on the state contract, and we file what's called a 471, and we'll get into that in a bit later. So that's just an automatic for me, and last year we received 50% off of our internet costs. This year we're a 40% school because, and we'll get into that later as well. But yeah, we won't receive, So category 2 is the one that kind of gets more involved, shall we say, because we're talking about physical appliances. We're talking about infrastructure in terms of like pulling cable and like required licensing, that type of stuff. All of our switches require licenses to operate. So there's 2 categories. We have to keep them very much separate. This, moving forward, I believe I focus primarily on category 2 because that's where we're going to be coming. I'll be coming to the board and saying these are projects that we filed 470s for, and so we'll be placing bids up or making a recommendation. The workflow. So the workflow is this. We have to file a 470. My deadline for filing that was today, actually, but we have till April for any additional ones that we may need. There is a required 28-day window that we have to have those bids, that bidding process open for. It's quite a lot of work to make the 470. We have to make our request for proposals, we call it RFP, and those are a bunch of legalese, and then it outlines the scope of work. Once that's done, it's actually pretty, you don't really want to change it. I mean, you have to be, cross your T's and dot your I's. And so we have 3 submitted right now. Once we receive our bids, we go through a bid analysis. Usually it's a team of people, and we have a matrix that we use that's recommended, and we try to get input, and we analyze the bids. Full disclosure, we don't always go with the cheapest bidder because sometimes they're just not responsible. Sometimes we'll get bids from all over the United States, sometimes not even the United States. And so depending what the appliance is, that may not be a responsible bid at all, but it may be the cheapest. So we have to keep that in mind. So all of that is weighted. Once we decide on a vendor that we would like to award the contract to, we will bring it to the board and ask for approval to move forward with the project. And mind you, we'll still have time to build the project costs into the budget. So we're looking, we're looking March, May, like that timeline of filing the 471. And so we would present to the board and say, this is the vendor we recommend going with. Once approved, I would file that 471. And then we wait. And we wait for E-rate to say, or USAC to say, yes, we'll commit support to that, or no, you can't have support for that. So they go through it as well. That kind of gets ticky-tacky because they don't have, their people are just versed in filing, they're just versed in the forms and the process, not necessarily the tech language needed to help us make make the project move forward, but we make it work. Once that is done, once the 470 is done, if we get funds committed, we have about a full year to execute that project. So we generally do those projects in the summertime, and then once the project is done, we invoice E-rate to get our rebate, our 40% rebate. A lot of vendors would prefer that we pay up front 100%. I've actually seen a couple of vendors get burned by E-rate, so some vendors have very little legal recourse if they do the work up front, and then E-rate, for whatever reason, it could be an invoicing mismatch, says no, we're not going to pay. So a lot of vendors won't bid a job if you ask to get your discount up front. So that's what most schools do.
Generally, Tony, in your experience, once you file for the reimbursement, does it take 4 to 6 weeks, or?
Yeah.
Generally.
Yeah, it can. I've only actually had to do the reimbursement once, to be honest, and that took, if I remember correctly, we got caught up in this loophole. I mean, we finally did get it back, but it took a solid 3 months. Actually, it was an ordeal. And then even after we had got it sorted and we had cashed the check, and then they started calling us again to reopen the case. So that they could issue a second check. So somewhere in there, they had this loop going on where we had to tell them, like, no, you already paid us, actually. So yeah, it can be an ongoing thing sometimes. But yeah, about this last time was about 3 months. Yep.
3 months.
Yep. So yeah, right here, this is where we're at. This is the current state. We are filing, and I filed the 3 that I think are pertinent for this year, for the summer, or that are important. We have a Category 2 budget of $170,931.36. This is pre-discount. Okay, so this gets really, really ticky-tacky, right? So we really only receive 40% of that 170,000. That's how I think of it, right?
So last year you said I didn't mean to, you might get to this, but
Yeah, don't
last
worry.
year you said that we got 50%. This year we're projected to get 40. What determines that?
Oh, absolutely. Great question. So, and it's actually the next slide.
next
So that,
slide.
you just teed
Right
that up
behind
for me.
you.
Thank you. All right. So what determines that is they actually determine that we get $201.57 per student. Then what happens is they look at a free and reduced lunch count. So how many kids are enrolled in the National Lunch School Lunch Program? We have 141 students. That's 17%, and so that's less than years past. And this was the first year of our 5-year cycle, so we have to go in and we have to redeclare how many students we have, and so that put us in the 40% category. So we have less students that are taking advantage of that National School Lunch Program, and so therefore we're determined to not be as high of a need community. I guess that's how you would view it. And so, yeah, ordinarily, so we have 5 years at 40%, really, is what it amounts to. The next 5-year cycle, we could be back in the 50% range. Moving on. This year, a really, really big one, and we really don't have an option. This expense is going to hit us either way. We need to purchase Switch license renewals. And so the license, and the license for the APs as well. Without these licenses for these appliances, we don't have phones, we don't have boilers, we don't have any control over our HVAC. All of that touches our network, and it all goes through a switch. So this is an unavoidable expense that we'll be budgeting for. And so I've already filed the 470 for that particular one, and we're looking to get bids through CISA 5 through their, is it CISA 5 or yeah, CISA 5 through their bidding. They have a process by which they put it out there for vendors and they can bid it. So we're doing everything we can to collect as many bids as possible for these licenses, and hopefully we'll get 40% off of them.
Tony, the licenses don't stop working per se, but I mean, we just heard from the audit Patty was her name, right?
Mm-hmm.
That our cybersecurity needs to be picked up a little bit. This goes a long way for that cybersecurity.
It absolutely does, and I got to give credit to Cisco Meraki. A couple of years back, we had a licensing snafu, and they did not just cut us off. We had some limited functionality, but they made sure that we had phones. But yeah, we just want to make sure we pay that licensing because they could, if they really wanted to, legally shut it off. But yep. So the Switch edition, currently we have 19 switches in our racks. I've filed a 470 to add 5 switches. The reason for this is because when we had our closets redone during the referendum, during the renovations, we have spaces for those. They're engineered to have switches put into these spaces. Currently, we don't have a wing in this building that would be technically fully functional in terms of the data jacks. Some of those data jacks literally go to nowhere. And then if we need to plug something in there, I have to go into the closet and do some fancy footwork. It's not just a plug and shut. And so we have slots that we need to have filled to complete the actual project. This particular one requests the newest 9300 series because of the fact that our current switches are end of sale, which means they will soon be an end of life in 5 years. So they'll be phased out with no firmware updates in about 5 years. And so we want to stay ahead of that curve. The infrastructure project, this one is, we really need to address some areas that were kind of left out. For example, we don't have a phone in this particular conference room. That has been something that has been requested a number of times. We would like to increase our coverage for surveillance, which requires additional poles for cameras. So this infrastructure project is really a cabling project. We need to have data jacks pulled back, data jacks put in the walls, and then the cable pulled back to our appropriate closet, and then what we call punch down, where they take and actually make everything work. And so that is a critical component. I think we had a total of, I think it was like 12 poles that we need executed to address some concerns, areas of concern. Of the three, I would love to I absolutely want all three of these to get done this summer. Don't get me wrong, but of the three, if I had to choose one to axe, it would be this one. But we really honestly need all three, if you ask me. It becomes a safety issue not having some of these things in place, right? It becomes a safety concern.
How did these get missed in the referendum? Because we just did the voting on it like in August of additional polls, right? Of things that were not hooked up from the referendum.
I can't recall if we voted on that in August.
September,
yeah.
August.
There was.
Or this summer, I think, right? Were there some things that,
I'll go back.
some wiring?
Yes, there was. Oh, yep. I'm sorry. The Cadre Communications one. Yes, and that was a kind of a.
That's different than this.
It is.
Okay.
That was for. We needed to have some door sensors rearranged and some door lock issues assessed, and they didn't pull anything for cameras. I think they made 1 or 2 pulls for.
When they fixed some wiring for the overhead microphones.
Right,
Yeah.
for the PA
Yeah,
system.
yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
And there was also like a situation, we had some requests to exits that need to be moved because it didn't make sense the way they were configured. The reason, some of the stuff got overlooked, we didn't, I was kind of handed a template, and it was told like, this is what you're getting, right?
Okay.
I don't want to.
That's the answer I was.
I wish I had been more assertive with what we needed. Myself and our former tech that worked here with me, we did our very best to be heard, and yeah. So.
Understood.
So thank you for. It is important to address these things now because we want to be able to have the 28 bid, get all this done within that 28-day bidding window, so that we can file the 471s. Without filing the 470, we can't move forward. Of course, we have to do that. And this timeline will allow for us to do the zero-based budgeting, right? We can build this into our budget because when all of this is done, we'll have already made our decisions and hopefully gotten our commitment letters back. And then we can say, well, yeah, we're going to budget for these projects. My advice to any business office at any school district, really, if you guys want my opinion on it, is that we budget 100% of the cost and then we consider that money gone. We just say, if we get that, it's gone, and then that way, if we, for whatever reason, E-rate just decides no, which again, I've seen them do, and it doesn't really matter what you tell them, they're just like, no, we're not really surprised. So we get the bonus of, do get it back, it's kind of nice, right? So yeah, that's my advice, is that we just budget for 100% of the project, and then if we do get the rebates, great. So we'll do everything we can to get those. So, of course. Do you guys have any questions? Okay. I know, it was really
That's a lot
exciting.
of good information.
Thank you. Really exciting stuff, right?
Thanks, Tony.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
It's kind of like the Menards rebate.
Right.
You just
Don't
gotta
fill it out right, you're not
you go
getting
pay
it.
for it, and then you gotta go send in the rebate, and you hope you get it back.
And you hope you even buy your stuff the day before the sale starts.
Right.
I've been there.
All right, number 10, public comments. Do you guys want to talk about? Nope. All right. Number 11, discussion items, potential action. We did the workshop the other day. Got a lot of stuff accomplished. I just put in there the updated board norms. We added number 9, I think it was. Number 8, sorry. We don't have to vote on it, I just wanted to show you that it was updated. We have it in our BOE only folder. Number 11A2 was the goals for the 2025-2026 school year for the school board. I just added those in there for the things that we talked about at our workshop. I was thinking we probably should do a motion to approve those goals for the board. Does anyone like to make a motion? I can make a motion to approve the goals as discussed in our workshop.
Is that something that has to be approved?
Just to show that we all agreed on it.
I think the goals are fine. The action items as a board in the district, or in administration, I think we're going to need to refine a bit, but as a
Okay.
general goal, high level, I'm fine.
All right, seeking a second for that motion.
I'll second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any nays? Motion carries 4-0. I made a motion for the 2025-2026 school year goals
A2.
for the school board. And then 11B was Wisconsin State Education Convention update. I attended, Michelle attended, Danielle attended. Had some good information. I went to a strategic planning stakeholder that was with the district administrator and business manager from Manawa. And they gave us their example of their strategic plan and how it all worked for them. Seemed to do a pretty great success for them. Opening session, we had Anna Marie Anderson, who was an ESPN speaker or
Journalist.
for ESPN, so that was cool. She had
She was very inspiring.
very. And then they had like the teacher of the year through the state of Wisconsin awards and the administrator of the year, principal of the year. They gave out a lot of awards at that event. Then I did a $60,000 question: is in-house payroll costing your district more than it should? Gave us a lot of ideas of possibly outsourcing payroll, and then of course they gave you your, well, here's my business card of we can do this.
And then after some questions, what they maybe can't do right now.
Yes,
So
yeah, they
that's
were,
interesting.
that company that gave that presentation was new to the education world. I did strengthening board policies. The only thing that I really got out of that is this district, that their policies were over 20 years old. And they did WASB policies instead of Neola. Everybody else in the room, they did a little survey. Everybody else in the room did Neola. To get caught up, they brought 10 policies before the board for the first reading and then the second reading the next month. So every agenda, they would just do 10 policies. And they did a 5-year rolling plan for updating. They're only into year 1 of their 5-year plan, so they're still determining if that's going to work for them or not.
How many policies do you know? How many do they have?
Did they have?
How many do we have? We have a lot.
We have a lot. They have WASB. They didn't have AGs. They called them a different name. Because when we said, oh, Neola has AGs, they didn't know what AGs were. So they had like a subsidiary of, instead of AGs, they would be a subsidiary for the administrator.
And did they mention pricing difference and or reliability and their policies versus?
WASB, they all had multiple attorneys that go over those policies at all times. WASB seemed to be on an Excel spreadsheet instead of Neola having board docs. I don't know if that's just what they were showing us, but in the BOE folder, I think it gave their presentation, and it goes further into different ideas.
And they did not have a policy committee from what I
They did
recall.
not. They had the business manager, their HR person, or the business manager,
And their district administrator.
and his secretary, who she was running the computer behind. Then I did Change Ready Resilient Schools. No handout, and it was extremely boring. It was really boring. Shada and I.
Video.
What?
It's if you're on video.
Oh, sorry, it was really great.
You're
Thanks for the reminder. Whoops. Michelle and I went to the Rainy Lewis and Lacey conference, which was transportation contracts.
Which was good timing, as ours is coming up.
We noticed that our contracts, we don't have contracts that we should. We don't have contracts with transportation of parents that we pay the parents or whatsoever. We don't have any type of transportation contract whatsoever. We need to confirm that our insurance and the busing service insurance align and there's no gap. Because probably pretty sure that there potentially are gaps.
And with our McKinney-Bento students, that we are responsible for paying a portion of the transportation fees. If other districts set those up, like.
We have
okay,
no contracts.
You know, what is our liability if somebody gets in an accident? So,
Yeah.
it was, I thought that was
Yeah.
really one of the best ones.
Thursday, then I went to calling all board presidents, aspiring leaders. We broke out into groups for Region 9. So it was myself, Genoa City Board President, Stevens Point. He just sat with us because his table was really full. Union Grove, Janesville, and Franklin. Talked about topics that each of us are having or that we've run into in the past years. The Union Grove High School Board President is going to do quarterly meetings with all the local board presidents and just try to get interaction with the local school boards. She hasn't reached out yet, but that's what she was going to reach out with people. And then we met with Barb to create our agenda for the workshop. That happened on February 9th. And then a monthly financial scorecard for your district. It was monthly reports from WASBO and WASDA they created. These reports come to the board. And we're pretty sure that Skyward does it instead of getting their program. Pretty sure Skyward should be able to give those reports out. And again, I put all the handouts and slideshows for you guys to review if you're interested in any of them. So it's kind of interesting. Definitely. So Danielle went on quite a few other ones. She, I guess we'll update that when she comes back.
We also were looking at different benefits providers that were there that had booths, and some security providers that just had different information for us. So it was a lot of information.
A lot of information. Yes. Yes. So yeah, if you guys ever want to go next year or in the following years,
So
it's
they're
pretty
doing-
interesting to go too. Yeah. Maybe not every year, but they have different topics.
And it's just in Milwaukee, right?
Yeah.
I mean, you don't have to stay. It's
Correct.
Right.
drive.
Yep. Yeah, it's just right downtown in Glenwood, Wisconsin. So, yeah, pretty interesting.
Sounds good.
Right, going on to 11C, the USA Fire Protection Contracts.
Sure. So We are, as Jorge mentioned earlier, we are looking at all of our contracts, our service agreements, our subscriptions to see where do we have duplications, where could we possibly save money. I'm gonna give a little shout out to Mr. Lou Gilmore, who looked at this for us and said, hey, we've got like 3 different vendors for 3 different fire safety protection services. Why don't we look at one, and why don't we see if we can save some money? So that's what's in front of you. I did share with you how much we would be saving, how much the district would be saving if we go to USA Fire Protection. So again, there are 3 different contracts, but they add up to over $10,000. So that's why I'm bringing this to the board. I also do want you to know that we truly are looking at how we can be more fiscally responsible. So again, the fire alarm monitoring, if we go with USA Fire Protection, right now we are paying $4,501 annually for that. With USA Fire Protection, we would be paying $2,850 the first year and $780 the second year. As far as fire extinguisher inspection and maintenance and kitchen hood inspection, we're currently paying $3,293.59, and then another $828.59 for the kitchen hood. The proposal from USA Fire Protection is a total of $1,367, so a savings there. And then we've got our fire sprinkler inspection, which let's see. For our fire alarm testing panel, which we're currently spending $4,344. This one would be a little bit higher, $5,805, but overall, we're currently spending with 3 different vendors on these services, $12,967 a year. And if we move to one vendor, which would be much easier for our buildings and grounds facilitator to work around, we would be spending $10,837 in the first year and then $9,000 after that. So there's a greater savings after the second year. So again, we'd have a savings of, after the second year, almost $4,000. And again, we know that costs will go up, but I mean, these are kind of the approximates. So I am making a recommendation that the board approve the USA Fire Protection contracts for the fire alarm monitoring, the fire extinguisher inspection and maintenance, and the fire sprinkler inspections at those totals that I shared with you.
I looked through the contract, as far as what services are being delivered. There wasn't anything that jumped out at me that says we're decreasing services in any of these areas.
Correct.
So
Correct.
I just want to confirm that, because I couldn't find it.
Yeah, we are not. We're not decreasing services. As a matter of fact, I think we're actually adding a few more.
I wasn't sure if that was just because things have changed. that
Right.
We're adding those type of services, but
I think we're actually adding a few more fire extinguishers, actually, that weren't included in the original count. So, yeah.
okay. Thank you.
That is correct. Just 2 additional comments with that. One is that it's going to also make it easier to deal with one vendor versus having to deal with 3 alternate vendors. Yeah, so that's just a
good lead on that.
And we did check with our current insurer, and we are only required to do 1 fire sprinkler inspection a year. So.
It's a 2-year contract, correct? So then the first year we pay more, and the second year we pay less. Then when we restart that, so again, it'd be the first year would be more, the second year.
It's my understanding that we would just continue with that savings year 2 and later.
Okay.
Yeah, it's not like we're gonna start over and go back, no.
All right. Anyone else have any other questions?
I'll make the motion to approve the contract, the USA Fire Protection contract as presented by Dr. Schmidt.
I'll second.
All in favor of that motion, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any nays? Motion carries 4-0. Thank you. Thank you, Lou, for doing that legwork.
Yes,
Yeah.
thank you, Lou.
So D, we have the policies first reading. Probably the only way to do this would be to go individually.
We've
It's
all
a first reading,
all
so
read
we
them,
can,
right?
we just talk about it, we're not really approving it. Well, I don't know. No, because we just.
Did you read through them all?
Yeah, oh yeah, I got through them all. I think as you go through the Library Media Center, and then I had sent a question about wellness, I think Michelle sent out, but one of them had, in the wellness, 8510, had that kind of a, what is it, wellness collaborators with the community and stuff like that. That's something similar I'd like to see in kind of the library media centers, to make sure that the curriculum in there is vetted through the community. But yeah, I saw a lot of changes as far as choose this rather than that. And
Good changes.
some of them
definitely.
good, yeah. It's hard to know what good until you get into a policy
True.
discrepancy.
True.
The only update I actually have is, I did put an email out today to, Tim, because we had requested to add in the 5411 third grade promotion to reference 5410. So I asked him for us to stop to put that. That would be the only thing that would be added for the second reading.
And then there was something.
Minor.
Yeah, it's just referencing.
There was something in there about teachers, and I think it wasn't the volunteer one. Teachers taking kids home, and that they had to have, or
The
giving them
transportation one.
Transportation, that's the one, thank you. And it referred to that, but it didn't really see, parents to doing that. Do we need to worry about parents that are volunteers that need to pick up other kids, their neighbor kids, for example? I don't know, I'm just bringing it out as a
Right.
discussion item.
Is that in here? I didn't see that.
Yeah, it was in,
I think
it was under volunteers.
Yeah,
Oh.
it referenced it in the volunteers.
There was a subheading
Yeah.
of transportation.
Oh,
Yes,
yeah.
it was a volunteer who transports students in a private vehicle for school-sponsored activities or trips should abide by the guidelines of policy 8660, transportation by private vehicle for district-sponsored activities or trips.
Basically, what it amounts to is that you got to prearrange that. You can't do it at the time of.
Sure. And we would only be able to do that if it's a district-sponsored activity.
Right.
And I believe we had the conversation about always having two adults in the vehicle.
Yes.
As part of our, yes.
And then, yeah, she said she put that in the age.
Yes.
And then the last one, the food service one, I didn't see anything in there about students that aren't capable of playing, or their parents aren't capable. I know we have a free and reduced lunch, but in my past life, they would stop the kid from eating, basically, and give them a substandard sandwich or something like that.
That's policy 8531, was the free and reduced meal prices.
Yeah,
Did you guys
but
change
how
it?
we handle that, how we handle the kids not being, I think last year, as I was coming on, there was a deficit. Part of that deficit was because things weren't paid for. My question is those kids that couldn't pay for it, are they still eating? Are they still getting a quality meal?
Yes.
Yes.
And I didn't find it in any of the
there's no
AG
substitute
guidelines or
lunch.
anything as a, hey, governance, we are going to feed these kids because we live in the richest nation on the earth, and we want to make sure that they get fed, whether they want breakfast or lunch. We want to make sure that that's it. And I couldn't find that in any of the
I think
policies.
it's not put in policy in that aspect because you wouldn't want all families to just say, oh, we're going to have to pay.
Yeah, it's a tight line, and that's why maybe an AG guideline or something like that, where it's a little bit more, I hate to use the word buried, but again, we shouldn't,
Still a policy, but not,
yeah, don't
Right,
don't stop a kid
what's our
from eating.
procedure, right?
Yeah, what's our procedure?
I think our procedure has always just been, because I think we talked about this back, and I'm sure Danielle, when we really had to fix the wellness policy, is that our lunch just made sure. And it was just,
It always hasn't been like that.
it was like a negative, you guys, we originally had it as like, say, negative $10, then.
well, no, I'm saying like, what he's saying is if they can't truly afford it, they just make
Right,
sure.
we would
Well,
never let anybody.
even if the
not
parents
have
can
lunch.
afford it and they don't because of whatever, I'm not trying to say the parents are particularly bad, but, I don't want to see a kid go hungry.
Right.
That's my point.
And I think that's just the
That has
atmosphere of
never-
our lunch.
Would have.
It has here?
Not currently.
Oh,
Years
okay.
past.
I should never say never.
Peanut butter jelly sandwiches. When you got above a certain amount of tardy or charged or whatever,
Got
you would
it.
get a tuna fish or a peanut butter and jelly sandwich.
Yeah, totally kidding.
I eat peanut butter and jelly all day.
It does say students may be permitted to accumulate negative food service accounts. Students up to grade 8 will be allowed a negative balance not to exceed $10. Doesn't say what you're referring to.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, not in policy because
For
we
sure.
don't-
The only question I had, or
And if that kid needs one, you just tell me.
Mhm.
I'll buy him a lunch.
Yeah.
Right, and again, right, a lot of districts have angel funds and things
Yeah.
like that.
And I don't think we have an angel fund, do we?
I don't know.
I don't think so.
I don't, I think you might be right.
Yeah.
the only thing I found on policy 5411 was on the 3rd page. It was parental notification. I said
That was
that-
added.
That was
It's
added
all
in?
new stuff.
Okay.
Because when we did originally, let's back up, approve this, they didn't have any of that parent stuff in there, and we
Mhm.
had asked him how to put something in there, and he said it was coming back for review with parent review and parent, all those parents.
The only thing it says the board, so the board should be telling the parents about the personal reading plans, and the students should be telling, the board should be telling the students, should be giving a copy of the personal reading plan signed by the student's parents. And then it says the board, after 10 weeks of providing the student with the intervention in the student's personal reading plan, notify the student's parents of the student's progress. Should it say the board?
No.
Or should it say?
It should say the board gives the authority to the district administrator.
Because
If
it's capitalized, it's designated to.
Like under-
designate.
Okay. I was just
Good
thinking,
question.
man, we're gonna be reading a lot.
And we did ask in committee that they do the 10-day by normal practice anyway.
Okay. All right, that's all I had. Everything else, you guys did great.
So, I'm sorry, so the uncapitalized board means it's designated to somebody
No,
else?
it's capitalized. I just thought it was capitalized.
What did I hear about board? I'm sorry.
When it's capitalized, even like district administrator or principal, it's also their designee.
Oh, so even though it doesn't say board designee, it's okay to? Okay.
And that's an interesting practice.
It is.
because
It is.
I think that that would be very confusing to a parent who doesn't like the way something is decided. And our policy says the board's handling it. So they're not going to look for a capital or a small letter.
So looking at the definitions, it says the school board also, comprehensive meaning of duties and powers, the board governs.
I'm just saying, I think they should be somewhat easier to follow instead of kind of
jump all over to.
Well, to tell a parent, well, was the word board capitalized?
Well, that's what I'm trying to figure out. What does that mean?
Yeah, it talks about the district, if the district promotes, the dean of district is capitalized.
Yeah.
Except or otherwise defined in a policy, a school official is a board employed by the board as an administrator, supervisor, teacher, instructor, or support staff member, or a person serving on the board. The word is used when an action by the board or designee is required. The word will or must signifies a required action. Can we just confirm that they really want the word board there, or it should be a,
Or should it be district?
Administration or designee, appointed designee or something.
other than that, everything looked, I didn't have anything.
Well, we don't even have to vote on this.
Nope.
No, it's
Because
just
it's
the first
first reading. Good.
Will that property inventory based on that audit, 7450 need to change based on the audit recommendation?
Possibly. Based on what I heard tonight, possibly.
Maybe we could ask Neola.
Yeah.
Tim.
Yeah.
I saw you were writing really quick on that. Yeah, we don't have to vote on any of this.
I'm gonna ask him if it's, with it being capitalized, if it's, to double check, if it's
Means.
designee, and if it should really say the board instead of principal or DA.
Right, or in some cases, the district. Yeah, thanks.
Oh, instead of board, just district, and then somebody will do it.
To me, it makes more sense to do that. And I think it's easier for other people to understand. Like I say, a parent who's unhappy with something.
Rather than getting calls.
And they, well, but then they also get frustrated. when
Right.
We get emails and it's things that we don't handle.
Right,
So-
make it clear, I agree.
All right. Thank you for doing the policy committee.
Yes, thank you, Nicole.
Moving on to number 12, future agenda items. Anything you guys want to see on the agenda for March?
I'd like to see, according to the goals, what are action items, steps that we're taking. It doesn't have to be all of them, but at least a few for until we
start
get all
it.
those.
For sure.
Yeah, saying here's how we're going to measure that goal success.
What I can think of right away is talk with Lori and see what she has already started on the board website.
Yeah.
To see what that, because we don't have access to any of that.
What happened with the benefits committee? Remember in December, we agreed to review LPSU and look at that again in January.
So we met with USI, and Jorge and I have access to the Baird Analytics, which shows all of the different salaries and benefits that are afforded to districts across the state. So he and I are meeting on that tomorrow, and we are trying to put together information just to see where do we fit in terms of other people. And then I have 3 or 4 staff members who have volunteered to be part of that benefits
Oh,
committee.
so you haven't started that yet?
We have not.
Okay.
No. But we're working up to that.
Okay.
For sure.
I sent some to all of you, some examples of things that I was thinking and kind of for the workshop as a result of the workshop.
Yes.
That's open, as a part of a discussion and how we can kind of get going, especially the mailer. What does a mailer look like? And the QR code we talked about.
Good
But feel free to
information.
add into that or provide feedback as something that, hey, that's something we could do or something along those lines.
I have our little posters.
Yeah, you have. As I was going through my notes and trying to remember everything to get that document together, I wish I had those posters.
I could scan them in, so everyone has them.
Yeah. Couldn't hurt.
Yeah, I'll do that. Yep. All right, so moving on to 13. Can I get a motion to move into closed session?
A motion that we move into closed session.
And I'll second that. Roll call vote, Tina, aye. Joanne? Nicole?
Aye.
Victor?
Right?
Motion carries 4-0. The board shall convene into closed session under Wisconsin statute 19.851C to consider employment, promotion, compensation, or performance evaluation data of any public employee over whom the governmental body has jurisdiction or exercise responsibilities. All right, we are convening into open session. Can I get a motion to move into open session?
Make the motion to move into open session.
Seeking a second.
Yes. Either one.
All in favor of that motion, say aye.
Aye.
Any nays? Motion carries 4-0. Time is now 7:43. I'd like to make a motion to adjourn tonight's meeting. Can I get a second?
I'll second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any nays? Motion carries 4-0. Thank you, everybody. Have a good night.